Hey guys, Josh MUFC here. I'm here with another cleaning video for you. So what I'm going to do today is give you a quick run through on how I clean an open plan kitchen, right? So I've got all my chemicals. My phone's currently leaning up against my caddy with all the chemicals in it. Now what I usually use, things like this. Use the general disinfectant wipe, spray and wipe. Glass cleaner for stainless steel surfaces. And for something a little bit more stubborn, I use the Ultimate. I've run through these chemicals with you before, and I've got an assortment of rags. Plain and simple, I've shown you those. Now, general rules, as applied with all videos, I'm going to clean from top to bottom, bringing all the dust, all the food crumbs, all everything down to the floor later for mopping and vacuuming. So, I'm going to get started. Start with my yellow rag for all surfaces. Right, now what I do is I'll always start from the inside of the cupboards, right? So, despite having done this regularly, you can see in there, the cupboard's got all your assorted stuff. Now I would usually bring them out and lay them down on the bench top. Spray directly onto the rag, wipe the top, the sides, the shelf, top. Sides, shelf, back to front to let everything fall down. And from there, I'll do the inside of the door. So you do the top of it, the inside face, again, top, down to the inside face. So if there's any dust or anything, it's all falling straight down, you don't need to worry about it. Once you're done, you close the doors. Give the rag another spray. This is going to be doing the outside face of it. Remove any previous wipe marks. Don't do it too heavily on the spray. Only 2 or 3 sprays directly on. Just removes all the fingerprints. Go around the handles, however you decide to do it. And then you want to do the touch points. Inside, round, top, under, all of that sort of stuff. Now if there's still a little bit of smear marks, you flip your rag over to your dry side. And you go over where you wiped previously. There will be no streak marks, there will be no smear marks. Perfect. Now, the range hood in the middle here, I've cleaned it last week. I do this once a week, but I'll go over it once again to show you. Typical rules that I've showed you before: blue rag, glass cleaner. There's no super stains on here, so it's fine. Again, top to bottom, but I like to spray the glass cleaner directly onto it. It's very light, not too heavy, because it dries, it disappears, and as I said, it's clean. And from there, as I've always shown you, top to bottom, top to bottom, making sure you're getting all of the areas of the range hood. Any of the marks to come off, and this just leaves you that gleaming shine, so you don't need to worry about it. If there's any streaks left over, again, flip to the dry side and give it a quick buff. Disappears very quickly. The glass, the dials, around the outside, back to front, and top to bottom. Same general rules as you've always seen, as I've told you numerous times. And from here, you've got a damp rag, you don't need to spray the underside, and just give it a quick once over on the glass area. From this point, you want to get the filter out. It will just pop out. Usually they're fairly easy to do. Now this is perfectly clean. I'm currently cleaning in a display home, so you don't need to worry about this. But with your air filters, usually go straight, as I'll show you here. You'll put it straight into the sink. Dish water, let it soak, and go about your business. That would require a scrub. I'll just put you back here, sorry for the moment. And once this is all dried and dripped off and wiped down, it's back into the range hood. Usually want to get underneath in there as well if there's any grime or anything. For those, the Ultimate, like I've shown you before, more heavy duty, let it soak and then go over it with a dry rag to become damp. Instead of that. Okay, now from this point, we're going to the cooktop. These are clean as well, but I'm going to give it a go over because it's dusty. Remove your elements. I usually chuck them in a soak in the sink as well with the dish liquid. Remove all over, but I did that last week. So again, this is just a shortcut way because I've done it previously. I'll just give it a quick run over. You also want to remove the burner elements and put them in a soak as well. They have to perfectly dry them, otherwise they won't light the fire on the element. Call that light. Okay, that's probably not working the way it should. I'll clean that up later. Now with this one, if there's grime and grease, separate yellow rag, ultimate, spray it over it and let it soak for about 2 minutes. If you leave it too heavily, it will create a chemical stain, and you don't want that on stainless steel. And then you're going over it. I'm not showing you the clean here, by the way. This is just the removing of the grime, all of the food gunk, everything else is backed up. And once you've wiped it all down, everything else is cleaned off. Yep, you guessed it, the same old rule. Glass cleaner, very light spray, going over it once again. So this is the same trick as I showed you with the deep clean. It gives you a disinfect and it gives you the sparkle after you're done. Alright? Making sure you're going over all of the elements, all of the bases, all of the cooktop area. Brings up the shine, as I've told you previously. A lot of this will be repetitive because I've given you the instructions on this before, but a lot of it is good to remember. Those basic rules again. What was it? Clean from top to bottom and back to front. So even when you're going in for a house clean, a business clean, any sort of commercial clean, you want to start at the back of the premises and work your way to your exit door. Depends where you're located. I work from the front of the house to the back of the house and then leave, because you're just taking everything with you, closing doors, doing all of that once you vacuum and everything. So you close that door, you turn that light off, you are done. You don't need to worry about going back in there. So back to just buffing this off by the dry side. Okay, it is a little bit dirty still, but it's come up well regardless. So I'll give you a quick look at how this one's turned out. Hopefully you'll see it come up with a nice shine, nice gleam. Perfect. Right, now place you back down here again. Excuse the where is it? Oh, I've gone left of centre again there. Alright. Now, obviously you put your cooktop elements back. Make sure they all line up to their proper elements. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. And then from here, I'll be doing the bench top. That's the next layer down from where you just cleaned. Right, so you go back to your original rag. If you're confused about what sort of chemical you're using, give the rag a little sniff. If it's scented, you'll know which one you've used. So, back to this one. Going to be moving out. Oh, hang on. Going to be moving your items out of the way. So we have a kettle, we have a toaster, and a couple of things here. Now, you just shift it around. Doesn't matter, you can move it. On top of here, be placed back later. It's been cleaned, and you're going around, removing all the debris first, and then cleaning the backsplash, top to bottom. You don't need to spray it because unless it's heavily stained, this is just to remove the dust and any small stains. Moving your biscuit tins out of the way, removing the dust, scented spray, quickly over the bench top, damp side first, wiping from back to front, flipping over to the dry side, and doing it over to remove it. You get a wide angle, you'll see if there's any streak marks, you can go and do the dry side again. Right, put everything back where they were. However you've designed your house or whoever the owner of the residence has it laid out. And Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. All of those terrible sayings that the old ladies at the local scone shop like to use. Right, now I'm going to pause this for a moment. We'll get on to the next part of the clean. Right, so we've just moved across the kitchen to the fridge. I will collect my rags and my chemical to show you what I'm doing here. I only need the one chemical for this. The one chemical I use is Mr. Bean. Now, remember the rule, from back to front and from top to bottom, right? So, on top of here, I just have a couple of pamphlets, move them out of the way. I don't tend to dust this unless I have a duster, which broke on me, so that makes this whole point moot. So I spray on top. Again, back to front. Flick it out. Get into all the nooks and crannies, the little door handle, the door jambs, all that sort of stuff. Along the sides. If you want to be a little bit more thorough, you can take off all of the pamphlets and just go over it with the damp side, because these usually don't get too stained, but you want to find along the side of these, you'll find a lot of finger marks and a lot of little dirt marks, because that's obviously where you're opening the fridge. Now from here, I will give a light spray to this little black area here, because the fingers go in and hold the fridge open. So I'll give that little spray from underneath as well. Fold your rag over and probably into thirds, so you're nice and small, and you can get into the little nook in there to get out the fingerprints. And from the bottom as well, unfold, repeat the same process with the bottom half of the fridge. Sides and the sides. And the next point from here, if you want to, you could pull the shelves out, you can do the defrosting. I only do that once a month. The place here is very, very clean, so I don't usually go too depth into it. Now, the seals are the next thing you'll be working on. You want to be very careful with them not to spray chemicals directly onto them, because rubber is very sensitive and it wears down over time. You're going to increase the wear if you're applying chemicals directly to it. So I'll give it a quick, very, very light spray, but very quickly. Going around the outside, onto the underneath. Seals only. If there's any stains on the door frame and part here, you can wipe them down, but I just tend to leave it. And you want to get around the seal points where it sucks into the fridge, and behind the gap where the door is left open. Same deal with the one below. Again, top to bottom, front to back, onto the rag, between the seals. And you don't want to spray chemicals directly into the fridge because you're storing your food, obviously. Bottom, and again, behind the door jamb, to the bottom, across into the bottom. If there's any little further marks around here, even along here, you want to get that wiped down, but that's usually covered in the first wipe down anyway. It's pretty straightforward. If there's any extra marks that you see that you want to take care of along the side of the fridge, you do that. I always give the PowerPoint just a wipe down over the top of it, because they accumulate dust very, very quickly. I've done this just before, so that's where we leave it at that. Moving on to another area next. Right, now this area, just a general window, interior is sort of clean for it. I do have an internal and exterior full window clean coming, which is going to apply to the glass and the glass frame, the tracks of the runners of the windows, but this more is just dedicated to the domestic side. So again, I'm going to be starting cleaning from top to bottom. Now I've dusted and cobwebbed the corner of the cornices here, but now I'm going to be doing the window frame. You don't want to spray directly on there because the runoff of the dust can actually stain and give runoff of dirt and dust, so you want to avoid that. I spray it directly on, give it a little shake, and I go from the outside of the frame, of the window frame, to the bottom. Now normally, as you'll see here, I've got a little dark spot here on the rag. that is from the dust that become on top of it. Just goes to show you how after a week you can accumulate dust. You want to go on the inside of the frame, as so, top to bottom. And in the middle here, you have a little wind out window part. Just give it a little quick once over in all the little dicky parts all over it. And then work your way down to the bottom. Same deal here, along the top, down the side of the window frame. If you're feeling brave, well not brave because who gives a fuck, but you want to get the insides and where the runners are of the windows too. Just to remove any of the window marks. Again, another dirty mark. Along the frame, down the bottom, and flicking the dust out onto the ground for vacuuming and mopping. Alright guys, now for the very last part of this particular video of a domestic clean. We're in a bathroom / shower room, whatever you want to call it. Usual rules again, start from top to bottom. So I'll always start with the top framing and the doorways and all that sort of stuff as previously done. Remove the dust, flick it out. Now at this point, this shower is exceptionally clean. They do it themselves from what I gather every time they shower. I'm only in here twice a week and this place is fairly spick and span. So I do a little, normally I would get the dish liquid, lamb's wool, squeegee, and do it top to bottom. I normally don't need to do that, especially today. The guy usually works away, so this is what I'm doing here. Glass cleaner. Now, if you don't have a dedicated purple rag, which I don't tonight because they've been washed, you can get away with cheap paper towel. Just tear off a little bit. Apply a very minimal amount across the whole thing, top to bottom. You usually go 3 sprays across, and this is the simplest part of it all. Side to side, row by row, to ensure you're not missing anything. Get to a certain level, you just do it however you're comfortable. I like to just go little bit by little bit, usually quadrant it off to allow time to breathe. As you see, bring it closer, light amount, doesn't look very wet. You can usually turn it inside out, give it the dry down, the butt side, just to go over any loose speckles. You can usually judge by the light onto there if you find the right angle. See if you've missed anywhere, like here, here, and here, and here. In fact, I've missed a lot more than I thought. That one's done. You can use the same one if it's clean enough. You can still use the same rag. We'll have the same impact because this dissolves very quickly, as you've seen before. Very easy, very simple. Little glass hand, a little reflective handle. You don't even need to spray on it. Just put your finger on it with a paper towel and rotate the stamp. It'll loosen it up, and the sparkling point they come back in. I'm not going to do the whole thing on video for you, but you get the idea. Rotate it to the dry side, buff over where you've missed, and where there's any streak marks, and you'll be right. Glass cleaner can also work on the stainless steel shower head, which I do regularly. She's right there. Yeah, I would do a toilet clean to show you guys, but I think that's a little bit invasive, especially if they've left a number 3 plumper in there for me. Usually need a gurney and a high pressure hose to take the shit off the bowl here. I don't know what sort of diet they're eating, but good for them. Yeah, so that's about it. Glass frame, as you're aware, you know the rule. Spray it lightly, top to bottom, side by side. Reflective handles, the same here. Multi-purpose spray on the bench and on the sink, and then just shine up the silver parts. So hopefully that gave you a good rundown of what I do. You'll find your own routine. It doesn't have to be exact same, but the general rules still apply. Clean from top to bottom, and when you get to the final stage, you can just vacuum everything up, mop it after yourself, leave the premises, and it's less sparkling. Any other questions, any other ideas, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. go over to Talk Football 92. I'm a member there. I'm a panelist, regular contributor, and we'll see you all again really, really soon. Thanks guys for tuning in. Catch you later.